What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. Now, before the video starts, I have to acknowledge the obvious, Brodie Lee's passing. Now, nobody saw this coming. I didn't see it coming. I woke up in the morning and I discovered that he died. He passed away. Like, what the hell is going on? They said it was because of lung failure. It's a damn shame, 2020. It's been real bad. I don't need to say it. Like, he was 41 years old. He's wrestling AEW full time, I should note, and he passed away. I was speechless when I seen it. It's just something you never thought would happen. Like, a full-time star passing? No. He had his problems as recently as this month because he disappeared off TV, and it's a shame. My condolences to his family. It's very unfortunate. He was a good man. I didn't know him personally, obviously, but I seen a lot of stuff. He appeared with his son on Up, Up, Down, Down, and whatnot, and he just had a good relationship with his family. He was a family man. And like I said, last time there was a full-time star that died, that passed away, the first thing I could think of is Chris Benoit. He was the last full-time star that I recall. There might have been someone, but I don't think there was. Rest in peace to Brodie Lee. Great wrestler, great father, great family man, great friend overall to the guys in the back. You will definitely be missed, and you won't be forgotten. That's one thing for sure. When I think of the most violent matches that didn't involve tables nor ladders, this is right at the top of the list. So damn memorable for obvious reasons. Shane McMahon didn't need to do all this kind of stuff, but in his eyes, it was necessary. Either that or Mick Foley raised him, I'm not sure. He basically wanted to prove himself to the guys in the back, I assume. Also, one way or another, if you grew up in the 2000s, you know this match very well. Even if you've never seen the whole thing, you probably seen it on the Don't Try This at Home, and I broke my tailbone. It's a classic. That warm June night will never be forgotten. Regardless of the spots, the match itself was pretty good. There were other matches that visually looked more violent and painful, the TLC matches. But this one, it was different. You could see these guys just struggling to get up, let alone fight. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, both guys hurt themselves greatly to put out a good match. Scratch that. It'd be disrespectful to call it a good match. It was a great match. A lot of people disrespect this industry. I don't know what to say. This match is living proof that it ain't ballet. Anyways, Shane versus Kurt, King of the Ring, the build up, the match itself, and the aftermath. If you've never watched it, you owe it to yourself. Just go hop on the WWE Network and just watch the damn thing. It's that good. Alright, right now let's get into it. 2001, the year everything changed. We all know why, but the year itself for me was awesome. Not because of the invasion, it's because it felt enjoyable. Let me explain what I liked rather than disliked. A couple of things. Kurt Angle being one of the most over baby faces of the 2000s for a couple of weeks. Post 9/11, he was the man. He's drinking milk, holding the WWF title. I just love that run he had. It wasn't even that long. The Y2J Rock feud, that thing was competitive. Both guys hated each other, yet they were baby faces. The three great tag teams going at it for the final times in their matches. Stone Cold on Raw and SmackDown on pay-per-view was the man. Like people say, oh, he deteriorated, his performances were bad. Go watch 2001 and you'll think otherwise. But that said, the story started abruptly. As you know, Shane McMahon and Storyline purchased WCW. That's something for another day, but at this point, Shane wasn't on the best of terms with his father. He had his son face Big Show at Backlash, and by the skin of his teeth, Shane McMahon beat him. Now, how in the hell did he steer himself in Kurt Angle's direction? On the May 21st, 2001 episode of Raw, after regaining his gold medals, Kurt Angle was preparing a little ceremony. So he's out there all proud, trying to revel in the moment. He recited a little speech about the term hero, and obviously he was referring to himself as that, stating, these are his words, to have your medals stolen, yet recovering them in a 2 out of 3 falls match. It's not special, it's awe-inspiring. Angle sucks chants intensified in his response, I'm an Olympic champion. And what was the ceremony, you might ask? He called it the Olympic winning victory ceremony. So he was going to recreate the whole thing from 1996. And so it commenced. Pyro, inspirational music. He's out there tearing up. JR's calling it a joke. Heyman, on the other hand, called him the greatest credit to the human race. And then Shane McMahon's music played and Kurt was bewildered. He apologized for the interruption, citing that he was near as the reason why he came out. And he obviously had to acknowledge WCW. Every time Shane McMahon came out from the months of March of 2001 to July, every segment one way or another involved the letters WCW. I'm not joking. Nobody. Shane McMahon, WCW. He mentioned how it's starting soon. That's a whole other story. To which Angle responded, nobody cares. He began talking about the letters of WCW. Angle was irritated, and Shane took a slight jab by stating that the letter C means Kurt has no championships. C, and W stands for wussy. Kurt was frustrated and decided to grab Shane and ankle slam him off the stand. You know, that angle slam looks so impressive to me. It just looks so damn beautiful. It looks even cooler on his Titantron. He just grabs him, spins him around. The torque on that thing was so damn amazing, tremendous, legendary in my eyes. That's an underrated angle slam. I like it. And then he applied the ankle lock, and of course, Shane tapped. Memorable slam. A couple of minutes later, Shane was forced out of the building, and his father, meanwhile, apologized to Kurt on behalf of his family for what went down. As a matter of fact, he was pissed at Kurt for not breaking Shane's ankle. That's how much he hated his son. In order to give Angle some incentive, motivation for breaking his son's ankle, he gave him an Intercontinental title match against Kane. Now, the match was going Kurt's way. Even though 2001 Kane was kind of OP in a way, this was because of the injured arm. He was continuously isolating it. Kane had some fight in him, and he sends him right to the outside, and what follows is one of the quickest clotheslines you'll see. Shane runs in, boom, hits a clothesline, and assaults the Olympic hero. This gives way to a Kane chokeslam, and he retains the title. Later that week on SmackDown, Kurt frantically searched for Shane O'Mac, but he was unsuccessful. During the adventure, he made some enemies, those being Spike Dudley and Molly Holly. Angle is very rude to Molly. Spike comes to his girl's aid. He's all fired up but takes a brutal beating. Molly's gonna get a beating also, but her cousins pulled her out of there. Kurt Angle, with hair being evil, is something that doesn't happen very often, Like, he was absolutely evil here, and it showed. Why did he do this? It was because of Shane McMahon. With Vince giving him the green light, he was ready to snap his ankle in half. That week, it seemed like the feud disappeared because Shane himself was focused on the WCW invasion, Lance Storm. But on SmackDown during Angle's match with Chris Jericho, Shane interfered, security got to him before he could even lay a finger, and Angle's trash-talking ended up costing him because the moment he turned around, Spike Dudley interfered and hit him with a Dudley dog, and Y2J ends up winning. Shane celebrated despite the situation he was in, and Angle was seething. He demanded Regal book a match between themselves for King of the Ring. Regal promised to if he had the power to do so, and Tajiri was showing respect to Kurt, who didn't understand a single thing, so he assaulted him. Poor Tajiri, he's out here respecting Angle, he's greeting him, and he assaults him? Like, come on. Like I said, this is the most brutal hair Kurt Angle was up to this point, I believe. We all know he was brutal when he was bald, but like when he had hair, I think this was when he was at his meanest. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes Shane informed Regal that he accepts, and it's on. Now, the big problem with this was the fact that Kurt was adamant on being a part of the King of the Ring tournament. So it was going to create an issue for himself. If he wins the whole thing, he's still going to have to face Shane in like a street fight. Heading into the match at King of the Ring, Angle had to face Chris Benoit in a steel cage match. Beforehand, he bragged about being inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. He insulted the fans and Chris Benoit before shifting his focus to Shane McMahon. They chanted, "You suck," to which he responded, "No, I'm a National Hall of Fame inductee." He called out the idiot coward, and it wasn't he who came out, it was The Undertaker. This was because Shane earlier on gave Kane a little tip on who this stalker might be. Of course, Kurt denied this, stating that he's already met Taker's wife before, and even if he was going to stalk someone, she's not attractive enough or something like that. The Undertaker responded with a last ride. Shane then comes in and Angle slams him before running off into the night. As for the main event, one of the very best cage matches ever. Crazy stuff went down there, and that story in itself deserves its own video because it wasn't only this match. They fought from like March all the way up to this match. I believe Angle hit a moonsault off the top of the cage and missed it. Wild stuff. Angle managed to get through Hardcore Holly in the qualifying round before facing Jeff Hardy in the quarterfinal. He easily got through him after about 3 minutes to clinch his spot at the pay-per-view. Now, before I move on to the next topic, at this point, Angle was a part of his team called Team RECK, R-E-C-K, Rhino, Edge, Christian, and Kurt. He was a part of this team, and those 4 men were in the semifinals. On the final SmackDown before King of the Ring, Kurt Angle gave his final thoughts regarding both of his matches at the event. He continued shoving it down the fans' throat, the belief that he's a superhero, and as for Shane, he told him, quote for quote, "You think you could fly, but you're nothing but a mere mortal. Well, I'm a superhero." He had to insult Orlando, mentioning Shaq, and used him winning 2 titles as an example of this Sunday. He's gonna repeat, 2-time King of the Ring champ. And while Rhino, Edge, and Christian may be his friends, King of the Ring is the grown-ups table, and let's just say, and these are his words, "I'm a man who likes playing with boys." Oh man. Before he could correct himself, Edge and Christian interrupted. He managed to make things worse, stating that he's a man that beats boys, and Edge and Christian responded, calling him a dork. Edge threatened to beat his superhero ass up if Christian loses. Tensions rose between the tag team, and Angle claimed that he made Edge. "I made you into a star." He threatened him, saying that if he doesn't leave, quote for quote, "See this finger, see this thumb, see this fist, you better run." Okay. And out came the remaining member of Team RECK, Rhino. While he may be wrestling Edge in the semi-final, he said that regardless of the outcome, they're going to make sure that Kurt Angle doesn't win the whole thing. Then a swerve neither me nor Vince Russo, doubtful, saw coming. Rhino gored the living hell out of Edge. Angle catches Christian and hits the Angle Slam, so I assume this was ENC's face turn, because I don't remember them being baby faces before this. Later in the night, after teaming up with Rhino in a winning effort against Edge and Christian, Shane runs in and whacks Angle with a rough kendo stick shot, fends off the security, and runs off once again. Now, about their match at King of the Ring, first of all, Angle was scheduled to face Christian in the semi-final matchup. Of course, the former champ put up a fight, hell, he even hit the Unprettier, but Shane intelligently pulled him out of the ring. This distracted Christian, and Angle capitalized with the Angle Slam. Basically, we all know what's going on. Shane doesn't want a fresh Kurt Angle. Anyways, Edge ended up beating Rhino, and so it was going to be Kurt Angle versus Edge for the final. Before the match, Angle apologized for lashing out, and Edge stating that he doesn't want anything to get in the way of their friendship. Then he arrogantly claimed Edge can't beat him, so it's only right that he allows him, Kurt, to be fresh for his match against Shane. Hell, he even claimed, quote-unquote, "I think I know you." Yes, he was wrong. The match itself ended up being a good precursor to their future bouts, and of course, those matches blew this one out of the water. This one had a historical value to it. Like, if there was a 2K showcase for Edge, this match is definitely in it. Angle punished Edge throughout the match, but like Christian, he was a valiant underdog. He had bad rips stemming from the Rhino match, meaning he was at a disadvantage. And the moment Edge had the match won, Christian interfered. There was a ref bump, and Angle forces Edge to tap, but then Shane runs in and spears Angle, giving way to an execution, and he was King of the Ring. This really benefited the match. It was already a bit intense. With Angle going through another match and losing in the final, it was going to be violent. Shane's game plan, realizing that he can't just beat Angle like that, was wise. Not only did he cost Angle the King of the Ring, but he's also got a less than 100% version of him. Actually, no, it was a street fight if I didn't mention it. Now, if you watch this match without any prior knowledge, you'd think Shane was the heel. And yes, Angle did get pyro for the third time, which I find weird. Right out of the gate, Angle tackles him to the mat, tries to ground him, but Shane was persistent. He was non-stop on the offense and just trying to get his way with Shane. McMahon was no slouch either, showing off his wrestling skills. Apparently, Al Snow trained him for this one. Kurt, though, gave him a free pass. Big mistake. He's going for a gut wrench, and suddenly he was busted open. There's the reason why. He goes for the belly-to-belly, another one. Forearm stiff-ass shots, asserting his dominance. Funny enough, he gave him yet another pass. You know, it's quite humbling for Shane, but he realizes the error of his ways and went into a different direction. Angle tried steering him back, but it wasn't to be. They played a game of tag. Shane led him on and ended up regaining the advantage. He brought out the kendo sticks and bam, 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 till he busted the damn stick. Angle was screwing up his chances at this point, taking arm drags into the barricade, getting speared into the steps. It was anybody's match, and we all know how WWE makes Shane seem like a 90 overall street fighter. You know how it's going. First cover of the match saw Angle kick out for some odd reason with a bridge, and with every kick out, he was punished. Then the match kicked into another gear with the introduction of weapons. Angle finally recovered, but quickly found himself in the ankle lock. Like, at this point, Shane was really on him. And also, for somebody who doesn't really wrestle, and JR said this literally 1 second afterwards, he wasn't bad. Sharpshooters locked in, he had to whoop him with a kendo stick to free himself, and he evaded the next shots and delivered some of his own. It was already a brutal affair at this point, that's one thing to note. Then it got even better. Shane went up top and hit a freaking shooting star press. Sure, he missed, but A for effort, right? Once both men recovered, Angle dumped Shane to the outside, and this is when they made their way to the staging area. Angle took a damn suplex on the outside, which I believe for actually is terrible, and also Shane called him a wuss during the spot. And then they exchanged blows before Kurt Angle launched Shane head first into the support. Then he grabbed Shane, pulled him by his shirt, and belly-to-bellied him right into the plexiglass. Unfortunately, though, he fell onto his head, and you could just hear the thud. Then he grabs him once again and successfully hits it this time around. Damn, Shane was bleeding as a result of this, and this is what Angle had to say about this spot. And I quote, "I knew something was wrong immediately. I mean, we were told early in the day, listen, don't go near the glass. No pyro tonight. No fireworks because this is sugar glass. It'll break, it'll crack, it'll ruin the whole gimmick of the match." Shane had multiple, 50, 60 stitches. He got cut up pretty well. We both ended up in the hospital that night. It was the most brutal match I've ever been in. Unfortunately for Shane, I didn't know what to do. The second time I threw him through the glass, he wouldn't go through, and I literally threw him face first. Had I known that was plexiglass, I would have never done that to him. Even myself, when I threw him through and my arms followed through, the glass went into my arm, and I was cut up pretty badly. That was probably one of the most dangerous things I have ever done. I don't know anybody who would have ever gone through plexiglass on purpose. That was, well, it wasn't a dumb move, it was just the wrong stuff. Then Angle grabbed him and tried throwing him once again, and it was unsuccessful. He fell onto his head once more. He tries it again, and no, it didn't work. Angle was like, you know what, screw it, and he tossed him right into the glass. It was plexiglass, it wasn't sugar glass. Unfortunately, it couldn't end there. It wasn't a false count anywhere match, and so they had to go to the ring. Kurt couldn't drag him. He's hurt. It was killing him to just drag him atop the crate, let alone the ring. And once they reached the ring, Angle went for the cover. 1, 2, he kicks out. Kurt was beside himself, nearly shedding a tear, and decided to grab the lid. Shane had some fight in him, delivering a low blow and using the trash can lid also. Hell, he even hit the Angle slam, and once again, Angle kicks out. Kurt tried to pick the ankle, but went for the catapult, and for some reason, there was a board on the ring, and Angle utilized it as a platform to hit the Angle slam. Damn! It was honestly wild. You gotta watch it, I'm telling you. Angle crawls in, goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Finally! Like JR said, it was mercifully over. Unbelievable stuff. The fact that they never ended this earlier is miraculous. So much respect for the guys. They didn't quit the match when they should have, and the fans realized this, applauding Shane and Angle's performance. Bruce Pritchard on Something to Wrestle said that this match was so damn close to being aborted. I'm trying to communicate with the referee, tell him to stop, abort, don't do it again, and these guys aren't listening. They're continuing to do it, and Vince only has one person to take it out on, and that's me. So he's yelling and screaming and hovering over me. It was ugly. It was ugly. It was dangerous, but finally somehow they got through the damn glass using Shane's hard head. Overall, the build-up of the match was nothing compared to what went down. It's pretty forgettable to me. Shane received around 50 to 60 stitches as a result of this. Angle had a fractured tailbone and was very, very, very violent. Nothing like it during the year of 2001. The sound of Shane's head meeting the concrete floor is what sticks to me. And he fell onto his head like 2 or 3 times. It's unnecessary of him to do it, but he does it anyways. Truly a King of the Ring classic, a June classic, a 2001 classic, hell, a 2000s classic. Shane didn't have to do any of this stuff. He could have went tranquilo with this one, but the guy likes earning respect. One mistake caused those accidents. Had somebody switched the glass, it wouldn't have been as bad. Angle sensed something was off when they played the pyro. You know, sugar glass would have exploded, and yet he knew something was off. WWE did some pieces on this match, and they're available on the network. There's an episode of Confidential that documented it, and an entire episode of Untold. You know, I watched those about a year ago. They're awesome. Something you might like. And I wish they cover more matches from this era. Like, I really loved watching the in-depth look into this one in particular a while ago. Like I said, a tremendous match filled with some very gruesome spots. So yeah, what did you guys think of this match? Please comment down below. And that's it for this video. Make sure you hit an Angle slam on the like button and perhaps the coast to coast on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.